All right. First and foremost, I want to say, call out Yahweh by Shem Yahshua. What I just said is all praises to the Father in the name of the Son. Also want to say Yahweh by Shem Yahshua, Barakatah, mean the Most High in Christ bless. Right, and I'm just gonna get right into it. I got a lesson written down, and I want to do it, so I'm gonna get it taken care of today, so that we don't have to think that we did it or whatever the case is. I had this lesson wrote probably like 3 weeks ago when I was going last one into the Torah series, and said I'm probably not going to touch base on the Torah series because I have so many lessons already. This one is one of them. I think this actually might be the last of it. But then after this, I do want to go into Jeremiah 51, even though we're going to touch base on Jeremiah 51. I want to go in there and do like a 3-part series on Jeremiah 51 because it's such a long chapter. So, of course, if we're going to talk about destruction being imminent, we need to deal with what's happening right now, right? Why it ain't happening at this moment, right? So this is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9. It says, "The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long-suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance." Right? I'm gonna just have to get a pen real quick because I'm feeling like I'm gonna have to touch base on this again in a little bit. Don't have a pen. Here's a pen. All right, so let's just get this around here. 2 Peter. Let's see what the rest of it holds. Right. So we see there, man, that the Lord is not slack concerning his promises, man. The promises that are mentioned, man, is all over the text, man. Right? And we need to see these. So this Matthew 24, right, verse 14, right? It says, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." So the word got to be spread, man. The Lord not slacking when this thing about to end, man. He just waiting for the proper time to let this place go up, man. Right? And also, let's go here, man. It ain't gonna work. Ecclesiastes 8. So we should know that the Lord is getting ready to get things going in this place just by looking at what's happening, man. But this is Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. It says, "Because sentence against an evil work is not executed swiftly." Slacky, what did it say? Speedily, not executed speedily. Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil, right? So men look to do wicked, right? They don't look to do right, and because they do this because they think the Lord ain't. They think the Lord don't exist, man. They think Yahweh ain't ready to plague this place, man. Right? That's why a lot of the time we see these people doing whatever the hell they want, man. Right? And not what the Lord want us to do. Let's get here, right? So we're gonna go to. And this is just building us up for the rest of the chapter. So this is the rest of the breakdown, just the introductory of what the Lord expecting to happen before we go into this thing, man. So this is 2 Ezra 6, verse 28, and it reads, "As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome." Right? The truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. So we need to have this truth declared among the 4 corners of the earth, right? And it says, "And when he talked with me, behold, I looked by little and little upon him before whom I stood." And it says, "All these words said he unto me, and Salakia, I am come to show thee the time of the night to come." This is talking about the end, man, right? And then after that, we see that Ezra fasted for 7 days, and he only fasted with herbs and so on and so forth. If I'm not mistaken, this is the chapter, right? Let me see, Control F. I just want to see that. See, herb. Nope, it ain't the herbs in this one. But either way, Ezra, he basically was dealing with the end times right here, man, letting us know what's going to happen, man. Right, and we gotta see this happen. The word gets put out, man, before the end, man. Right, and that's why at the end of Yahweh Shai's time, man, He says, "Go and teach all nations the gospel, man." Right? I don't know why I would do that, but that's what we were supposed to do. Go and teach all nations the gospel. What the gospel is, that the children of Israel are going to be redeemed, and then the sons of strangers are going to feed the flock. That's what it goes into, right? This is Jeremiah 51 and 1. This going into the judgment more so introductory still, but still into the judgment. So this is Jeremiah 51 and 1. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind." Right? This destroying wind is going into nukes and missiles. Right? Destroying wind is talking about destruction. Right? And it says, "And I will send I will send unto Babylon banners." This banners is actually, I gotta get that. Can't go any further without getting Jeremiah 51 out of the Blue Letter Bible. And of course, it popped up because I did this. I went through this lesson already a couple times. Yeah, the wind, Rawak, right? Rawak, a spirit, right? Spirit, wind, breath, side, mind, blast, right? This is talking about the spirit. The Most High is going to send a destroying spirit upon Babylon. The angel of death, Yahweh Shai, right? That's what we're seeing in there when it says, "And I will send fanners," right? "That shall fan her and shall empty her land for in the day of thy troubles." So like, yeah, let me get this out of the way, right? And it says, "For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about." So these other nations or these fanners is going to surround Babylon in that day. This ain't talking about ancient Babylon, man. Right? Let's get this fanners first. That's Zawar or Zar Zarayar, Zarayum. Right? That's what it's used there. Right? But it's Zawar in a singular sense. Right? And it says stranger, strange, it's strange, stranger. So this is not, and we went into this previously, man. What are the strangers? Is on my video, so you could go into this, see who the strangers are, and then you see Tazar or Zawar, right? That's going into heathens, right, or a false god, right, or things along those lines. Because I said a false god, right? It might be strange fire, right, right. So it's going into kind of tribal, but it's more so talking about heathens in this sense, man. This is a heathen right here, man. And it says the Lord will send the heathens against Babylon, and she's gonna surround her all around, man. Right? That's what we looking forward to, and we seeing the nation's not surrounding her yet, man. Right? But this is what the next step will be, man. All the other nations, they playing military games around America, man. Right? They got their ships ready, and they getting ready to point their arrows in home to America, man. Russia been aiming and testing how far the distance of their nuke is gonna be, man. Once Russia get a good nuke distance, they're gonna distribute that to China and to all over, man. And then they're gonna fan Babylon, man, or blow them out, man. To use a better word, fanner is good too, though, man. Right? They're gonna blow them away with the destruction, man. So yeah, we're gonna go back to Isaiah 13, man. I have an Isaiah 13 breakdown on my channel, so I'm just gonna most likely read this, but this does correlate with Jeremiah 51. So I got a few verses out of here. This is Jeremiah 13, verse 1. It says, "The burden of Babylon," right? The burden is talking about a hard thing, man, right? Which Isaiah, the son of Amos, did see, right? "Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice up unto them, shake the hand, that they may go in the gates of the nobles." This is directly correlating with the first couple verses, actually the first three verses that I brought out, because it's talking about bringing out the word and speak of the downfall or the destruction of this place that's about to happen, man. That's what this is going into, right? So when we see that, that's what that's going into. And it says, "I have commanded my sanctified ones," the Israelites, right, the children of Israel. "I have also commanded, or called my mighty ones for my anger, even them that rejoice in my highness." That's Israel, right? But then here it says, "The noise of a multitude and the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together, Yahweh Tazabawa mustereth the host of the battle. Right. So this in verse 4 is talking about the heathens. Right. The sanctified ones is the Israelites. It's two different people being talked about here. In verse 4, it's talking about the nations that's going to surround Babylon. Right. And then in verse 5, it says they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh, right, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. So the Lord is getting ready to set these people up against Babylon, man. That's why everybody's heart is set against Babylon, man, right? And we're going to see that change a little bit more, right? This Revelation chapter 18, verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues, right? So this is the warning. This is what we telling the people, come out of the ways of Babylon, not actually out of Babylon, but come out of Babylonian mindset, man, right? This Western mindset that everybody always speak about, right? We got to get rid of this, man, right? So that we don't receive of her plagues. And it says, for her sins have reached into heaven, and God have remembered her iniquities. God is remembering her iniquities, man, right? Even through the bad weather that we get, at least once a week in America, man. Like the whole area from Canada down to Niagara region, Niagara Buffalo region, all the way in this whole area, man. We got bad weather, man, in the middle of spring, man. That was just a couple weeks ago, not even maybe last week, right? It's just the Most High is getting ready to get rid of this place, man. Right, and it says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works, and the cup which she had filled to her double. So what we get from Babylon, they're gonna get double pretty much, man. And it says how much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. So she lived deliciously and glorified herself, right? So she gonna get torment given to her, man, or torment and sorrow, right? And it says, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow, right? Hold on. It's some specific. Let me get this real quick, because this just sparked it in my heart to get this. So this Psalm 49 and 11, it says, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations, that their land, and they call their lands after their own names. So these people, they typically go after this manner. They call their lands after their own names. They think that they're going to continue on forever, and that's what it was saying in Revelation 18, 7. It says, and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. That's what that's going into, right? And it says, verse 8, Revelation 18 and 8, it says, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh Elohim who judges her. Elohai, right? So the Most High, when he judges this place, man, it's going to be seen and it's going to be recognized that it's the Most High who judging her, man, right? That's why during 9/11, man, the whole world went crazy, or the whole America went crazy, man. That was the last time we seen anything crazy go happen. That, like, a lot of people thought, okay, the Pentagon is next to happen, and then they thought it was going to continue, keep on going in an ongoing cycle, because they knew that Revelation 18 was about America, man, and that they thought that September 11th was the time when America was going to be done forever, man. Even as children, I was what, 9 years old at the time. I thought that my life was about to be over, man, right? Because that's what everybody was making it seem like, right? And there was a deeper rooted sense that this is about to be the end, right? So are we going into the some of the nitty gritty ones? Like the Revelation 18 is nitty gritty, Jeremiah 51 is nitty gritty, Isaiah 13 nitty gritty, right? We gonna get into them nitty gritty ones though, man. This is Second Ezra chapter 5. It says verse 5. It says, "Behold, saith Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So now we going into what the Lord is actually getting ready to do, man. Right? We know what we got to do to get out of this place. So now we need to see what's coming next, right? And it says, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith Yahweh, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. So we're going to see that the Lord is going to answer for even um, the innocent and the righteous, right? The Israelites who keep the law, statutes, and commandments, right? In verse 9 it says, and therefore saith Yahweh, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them, right? And we got to get this one real quick, right? It's Numbers 35, verse 33, and it reads, it says, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So the Lord is pretty much saying that they got to answer for what they did to the children of Israel, right? This is what we're gonna start seeing, man, right? And then if I want to just go back to Second Ezra 6 or 15 and 9, it says, and therefore saith Yahweh, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. The Lord is going to avenge the blood of our fallen, man, of this land, man, right? Let's get this one, right? So we're going to go back a chapter. And we're going to get verse 14. Jeremiah 50, verse 14, it says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Yahweh. So this is talking about how every nation gonna go against Babylon, and it's gonna be destroyed imminently in about an hour, man. Right? That's what that's going into. All the nations gonna shoot her arrows or shoot their thermonuclear missiles if they have them readily available at America, man. Right? And it says, shout against her round about. She hath given her hand, her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her as she have done, do unto her. So the Most High said, these nations, they keep on going, well, America, they keep on going in every other country and blowing stuff up and killing everybody. Now y'all going to have y'all chance to recompense it. They like to put their hands in everybody else's business, but the Lord taking all their business away. You feel what I'm saying? Ain't no way around that, right? Let's go next chapter. So this is 2 Ezra 16, verse 13. For strong is the right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to shoot into the ends of the world. And I want to really just go into how they already started shooting arrows at a point in time. But you can't really find this online. It was only available before they got rid of all sources and all ways to get to this information. But they had shot a thermonuclear missile, Russia, to America, and it was footage. It's gone off the internet. I checked everywhere. They wiped it. But I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it at a lot of places, actually. But the thermonuclear missiles took the chariot and brought it away. Not the chariot took the thermonuclear missile and brought it away, man. Right? So we got to see that it wasn't time, man. The Lord, once they start being shot, the Lord going to have all nations in that same spirit to do that. And it says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The plagues is talking about the missiles. Once they shot and once they come, they ain't going to be able to be turned back. You know what I mean? The Lord is just letting us know that it's going to happen, man. And it's going to happen soon, right? So we need to be preparing ourselves for this, right? Now let's go here, man. Allergies killing. It ain't even that bad, but I feel like I got something in my nose. I don't want to blow my nose on the screen here. It's like, yeah. It feel like it. It's like, yeah. I know I didn't want to get that in camera, but I had to blow my nose, man. It kept on annoying me. So this is Joel chapter 2. right? And it says, "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound the alarm in my holy mountain, and let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh cometh, for is nigh at hand." When he talking about Zion, Zion the people, he said, "Let the people of Zion know destruction coming." Pretty much, man. That's why it says, "Come out of her, my people," man. That's the same thing, right? And it says, "A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains." Salakia. A great people and a strong, there have not been ever the like, and neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them. I am just seeing where I'm reading into, right? It says, "A fire devoureth before them, and behold, behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Edom before them, and behold, them a desolate wilderness, yea, and nothing shall escape them." So the Lord basically saying everything gonna be destroyed, man, right in this place. Right, and it says, "The appearance of them is the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so they shall run, so shall they run." And it says, "Like the noise of chariots on the top of the mountain, shall they leap, like the noise of a flame that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle already." So these nations gonna come against these people, man. Right? They gonna come and they gonna do judgment, man. The Lord's judgment, man. The Lord gonna use the other nations to do His judgment, man. Right? Like how He did it with Nebuchadnezzar, man. Nebuchadnezzar didn't get dealt with the other nations. It was Cyrus, man. Cyrus the Mede, right? The Medes took down him, man. So that was Joel 2. We going down to Isaiah 54, right? So Isaiah 54, right, in verse 16, it says, "Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire." The smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, talking about the nuclear missiles, man. What is it? ICBM missiles, man. Right? That's what the intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's what the Lord created, man. He said He's did that, man. Even the guns, man. All of that. The Lord did that, man. Right? And it says, "And that bringeth forth an instrument for His work, and I have created the waster to destroy." That's what the Lord talking about, man. Them thermonuclear missiles, man. The Lord created that, man. Right? And he gonna point it for His specific time, man. Not how we feel, but when He wants to, man. Right? So like, yeah. So next we got. Let me get this next precept. It says, we got Jeremiah, Isaiah 54. So we're going back to Jeremiah 51. Right? Jeremiah 51 and 11. And then there's going to be a lot of reading, but I got to do it, right? So this is Jeremiah 51, verse 11, right? "Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes for His device against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of His temple." So this is technically going into the Medes and the Persians defeating the kings of Babylon, right? But this also going into the other nations about to destroy Babylon, the so-called great, right? So it says, "Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon, make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes, for Yahweh hath devised and done that which He spake against the inhabitants of Babylon." So the Most High already did what He said against Babylon. He's gonna do this again to America, man, right? And it says, thou that dwellest upon many waters." What is that, right? "Abundant in treasures, thine end is come." That's talking about America, right? "The whore that sitteth upon many waters." That's what that's going into, right? And it says, and the measure of thy covetousness, right? And it says, "Yahweh of hosts hath sworn by Himself, saying, Surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee," right? So these other nations gonna come against them, and then it says, He have made the earth by His power. He have established the world by His wisdom. He have stretched out the heaven by His understanding. And when He uttereth His voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens. And He causes the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the winds out of his treasure. Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image, for his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in him. This basically saying that the Lord not dealing with the falseness of the idol nations, man. It says they are vanity, the works of errors, right? In the time of their visitation, they shall perish, man. So the Lord gonna put out the idols in Babylon, man. And it says, the portion of Jacob is not like them, right? So Jacob is not like these other nations that the Lord trying to destroy, or he about to destroy, man, right? And it says, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Yahweh Tazabawa is his name, man. It says, thou art my battle axe and weapons of war, for with thee shall I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms, man. Right? This ain't talking about going up against Babylon though, but the Lord is going to use us to rule the other nations. That's what that's going into, right? And it says, and with thee I will break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee I will break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee I will break in pieces man and woman, and I will and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee I will break in pieces the young man and the maid, and I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock, and with thee I will break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen, and with thee I will break in pieces captains and rulers, and I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith Yahweh. So it says that it's going to be done in our sight. We're going to be able to witness this, but we're not really going to be able to partake in this, man. You can get that essence from the way the scriptures have it, man. Like Second Esdras 13. 2nd Esdras 13 talk about how while Christ doing the work, we gonna be gathered together as a peaceable multitude. Right? A lot of Israel like to teach that we gonna be the ones that's doing the judgment, man. But the other nations really gonna be fighting, and Yahweh Shai and the angels, right? I could stand corrected, right? But that's the sense I get from the scripture, because Yahweh Shai the Savior, he gonna deliver us from this place and bring us to our holy land, man. And Yahweh Shai gonna do judgment. That's why it says, "Who is this that cometh out of Basra with thy garments?" And then he said he did it alone. So we can't really get around that in some places, man. I would love to be shown otherwise, though. So if you have any conflicting ideals with that, man, bring it to me, man. We could deal with it, right? And it says, and I render unto Babylon and all the inhabitants of Chaldea. Okay, so we got that. Verse 25, behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith Yahweh, which destroyeth all the earth. I will stretch out my hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks and make thee a burnt mountain. So the Most High, and I already went into mountains, hills, or the, the metaphorical tongue of Israel. I did a video about that, how the mountains ain't talking about mountains, but it's talking about the nations, man. Right? And it says, and they shall not take thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith Yahweh. This ain't about Babylon, because Babylon is still dwelt in, which is modern Iraq, right? We see that. So now we got to go into this being America. America is never going to be able to be inhabited again, right? Verse 27. It says, set up ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together her kingdoms of Ararat, Mini, and Ashkenaz, appoint a captain against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillar. So the Lord said, basically, go against other nations, and the nations go to do you dirty, man. Right? Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes and the captains thereof and all the rulers thereof and all the land of his dominion. So the Lord's basically saying the other nations get ready to go against Babylon. And we're going to see that soon, man. Right? You'll see me get into Bible Gateway and Blue Letter Bible. That's the only two I really use, man. I might use Bible Hub here and there for alternative translation, but that's rare. You feel me? This is Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 2. It says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, right? The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal prophesy against him, right? And say Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief priest of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, and all the clothed with the swords of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So the Lord said that He gonna bring up Gog and Magog against us. So if you go into Ezekiel 38, 39, and 40, let's talk about Gog and Magog after 1,000 years, give or take, right? After 1,000 years, they're gonna come up against the children of Israel, man. This was written in, if I'm not mistaken, it's Revelation 21. No, not 21, 20. All right, Revelation 20 talk about how after a few years or something along those lines, or after 1,000 years, Satan shall be loose. Right, it was one in the beginning. Satan was cast and put away with the EU or the Edomites going into the caves, but then when Christ get his reign, then the children of Israel gonna be able to get back, man, right? Because the other nations gonna have the spirit to come against Yahushua and the children, right? So we're gonna see that in the kingdom, but after that, it ain't gonna be no more coming up against the children of Israel. So now I see I got a Revelation open. Yes, I do. Revelation 17, 16. So this is Revelation 17, 16. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, right, these shall hate the whore, right, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." So the 10 horns is talking about the other nations coming against Babylon, man. Right? They hate in the whore, right? That's the EU. The horns is the EU, right? And they hate the whore, which is America. So that's actually a living prophecy at the moment, man. Right? EU is actually contrary to America right now, man. Right? And it says, "For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill His will and to agree and give their kingdom unto beasts until the words of God shall be fulfilled." So the Most High said, "Look, I put it in their hearts, even in the heart of Trump, to do what He doing to make the other nations hate Him, right, and hate America." Right? The tariffs, the imposed, the non threatening threats that he's given to the other nations, so on and so forth, man. Because it's not really like these other nations is terrified of America anymore, man. Right? They don't see us as the power nation that we once was, man. Right? And that's a sign of the end, right? Let's go here. I gotta type it the way that I don't like typing it, but because it's not really the first chapter, is just Obadiah. But whatever. It's Obadiah verse 7. It says, "All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread and have laid a wound under thee, there is none understanding in them." So it says that the other nations is going to come against who? Edom. Other nations gonna come against Edom, and that's how we see that Babylon and Edom go hand in hand. Because Obadiah, right? Obadiah saying every nation coming against them. Jeremiah said every nation coming against Babylon and America, the whore that sit upon many waters. The horns is hating the whore, right? Everybody coming against them, man. Right? So we're gonna see that this is what this is going into, right? Jeremiah 51. I think that's it. It might be 45. Salaki. It's either 45, 25, or just 5. This is Jeremiah 51, 45. I'm almost certain this is it. So it says, "My people, go ye out of the midst of her and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of Yahweh." Right? So we need to get right with the Lord so that we don't get destroyed in this place, man. Right? We need to make sure that our spirits and our ways are right with the Lord, man, so that we don't have to burn in this place. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 10. "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest." Right? Because you know the scriptures say that they that are dead, or she that is in pleasure while she liveth, is dead already. Right? Roughly paraphrasing. But that's going into us too, man, men as well. Because we shouldn't be really having much pleasure in this place. That's kind of going into the rich man can't see the king, or a rich man. It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than the rich man to see the kingdom of heaven, right? That's what this is going into, right? Because you thinking that you good, you rested, you in heaven in this place, man. And the Lord is gonna give you a rude awakening, man. It says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest." And that's why Yahweh Shai told the rich man, "Sell what you have, sell all that you have, and follow me." right? But he couldn't do that, right? Because he didn't want to depart from that, man, right? And it says, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sword of destruction, man, right? And yes, that do go into the time of Yahweh Shai when they were in Jerusalem, man. It was polluted, right? It was destroyed. It wasn't sword destruction, man, but it was destroyed, man. Right? Our people didn't want to let go of the riches and follow Christ, man. That's why we were downtrodden by the Gentiles, man. Right? Um, let's go back into Second Ezra 16, right? Let's see what we're getting here. Second Ezra 16:40. Right, so Second Ezra 16 verse 40, it says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and then those evils be as pilgrims upon the earth. He that selleth, let him be as him that he that fleeth, and he that buyeth as one that lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth as if he should not reap. So also he that planteth the vineyard as he shall not gather the grapes. They that marry as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers, and they therefore they that labor in vain." Right, so basically you're saying that you gotta get ready for everything that you know, everything that you put your hope and faith in is gonna be worthless. You feel what I'm saying? That's what that's going in, man. Right, we gotta be as pilgrims on the earth when it's ready, when we know that something about to happen, man. Right, and you're gonna start seeing signs of this end coming, man. The mark of the beast, man. Them killing us and casting us into prisons and so on and so forth, man. You're gonna see the signs, man. No more words going out on the block, man. You're gonna see the signs, man. It's time to become a pilgrim on the earth, man. Right, it's gonna be coming soon, man. We gotta be looking forward to this, man. Looking for and hasting for the coming of the day of our Lord Yahweh Shai, man. What manner of people ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, man. 2 Peter 2:11, man. Right? So this Isaiah 26 verse 20. It says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain." So the Most High saying that he's going to bring his judgment to this place, man. He's angry with what's going on in this place, and it's about to be done for. Right? This is the last verse I have written down. This is Second Esdras 16, verse 673. It says, "Then they shall be known who are my chosen." Right? So we could see that some people call themselves chosen this day, but we know that they're not the chosen, because it says, "Then shall they be known." If you read 2 Esdras 15:16, you're going to see that this ain't got nothing to do with the you wish community, right? You wish. I didn't say any other thing than you wish, right? If you want to check that, you might check it, right? But this ain't got nothing to do with the you wish community. We got to figure out who his chosen is, man, right? That's us. Right, because then it shall be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire, like Jeremiah 30:7 says, man. It shall be a time like no other, even the time of Jacob's trouble. Right, we're gonna know. Right, we're gonna be tried, but the righteous shall be delivered out of it. The righteous, but he shall be saved out of it, man. Right, so yeah, man, destruction on its way, man. We can't get around that. We should be expecting it, and we should be getting our spirit ready for this, because ultimately the Lord ain't gonna be playing games with the children of Israel, nor he gonna be playing the nations with the other nations, playing games with the other nations. So with that, I want to say shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah, e.g.